We are live with the latest new details on the search for two escaped inmates out of Lima. Hello, everybody. Good morning to you. Welcome to Action News Now on this Wednesday. I'm Josh Krupp. New information just coming into the newsroom this morning. One of the two escaped inmates is in custody. The other is still on the run, and it is believed that he is in western Kentucky. This is a story we've been following since yesterday afternoon, whenever authorities in Allen County said that James Lee, pictured on the right there, and Bradley Gillespie, pictured on the left of your screen, both escaped from prison in Lima. The search right now extending to Henderson, Kentucky, and we'll take you there in just a moment. We'll get you caught up to speed on this story if you're unfamiliar with it, if you're just hearing about this for the first time. And let me actually get right to this new video that we do have out of Kentucky. This is the scene after James Lee was arrested in Henderson. The Henderson Police Department there saying that they have a command post and a perimeter established in this area because Brad Gillespie and James Lee were traveling together, evidently, here as they came onto them in Kentucky. We don't know what led them to this spot yet. All we do know is that James Lee, pictured on the right side of your screen, is in custody. He had been convicted of burglary, breaking and entering, and safe cracking. Gillespie was convicted for a double murder. There's an interesting timeline that we'll walk you through here as well. But Gillespie's name may sound familiar to those of you in Northwest Ohio, particularly Paulding County. In 2016, he was found guilty of killing 21-year-old Hannah Fisher and 47-year-old Frank Tracy of Paulding County. Fisher's body was found in her apartment in February 2016. Tracy's body was found at a cemetery near Fisher's apartment in March 2016. Gillespie still on the run at this hour. Henderson police in Kentucky say they have a park closed down as multiple agencies are coordinating efforts to try and locate him. They put out a notice early this morning that they had captured James Lee, the 46-year-old who escaped from prison along with Gillespie. Award money also being offered here between the U.S. Marshals and Ohio State Highway Patrol and the Allen County Sheriff's Office, up to $21,000 that leads to their arrests. They escaped from the Allen Oakwood Correctional Institution in Lima. When they escaped is something that is up in the air, and this brings us to the timeline that we want to get into here. This was laid out by authorities yesterday as they were continuing their search for them, and I'll put Brad Gillespie's face back on the screen. He is the one that authorities are still looking for. The timeline goes as follows. 8:41 a.m. Monday was the last time that they were both seen on camera inside the prison. Then they do several head counts throughout the day, throughout the night. It wasn't until 11:15 a.m. the next day, more than 24 hours later, that they realized something was off with this head count. Then they start recounting, and then about an hour and a half later, they realize that Brad Gillespie is missing. So at 11 a.m., they realize, uh-oh, James Lee is in here. Then an hour and a half goes by, and then they realize, oh no, we have a second inmate who is gone. They are investigating right now what led to the mishap with the counts in prison. Why did they not show up missing in the count earlier than that? Counts are at 9:30 p.m., midnight, 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 11 a.m., 4 p.m. every day. And at 4 p.m. they do a standing count. So there's a discrepancy in that. An investigation is ongoing, according to officials at the prison, to figure out why there is that discrepancy with the count. Ohio State Highway Patrol last night, along with the Allen County Sheriff's Department, were saying they couldn't confirm nor deny that these prisoners were still in Ohio or if they were elsewhere. They didn't know their whereabouts last night. There was talk yesterday in Allen County, anyways, of potentially closing down school because they didn't know where these two suspects are. That obviously didn't have to come to fruition because they ended up making the arrest of James Lee this morning, and they assume that Bradley Gillespie is traveling with him, and they have a pretty wide perimeter set up there. I shouldn't describe it as wide because we don't know how wide it is, but a perimeter at that, they say, to try and bring in Brad Gillespie as well. Let's show you the map from Lima to Henderson, Kentucky. It's in a tri-state area down here in western Kentucky near Indiana and Illinois, closer to Evansville, Indiana, if you're familiar with the area. Drive time about 5.5 hours away from Lima. Something we still don't know is how long they were on the road before they were discovered to be missing, because again, that discrepancy there between the time that they were last seen on camera, about 8:40 a.m. on Monday, to 11 a.m. on Tuesday, is a wide gap to get a head start for these guys to get on the run. So about a 5.5 hour drive from Lima down to Henderson, Kentucky, which is where police have established a perimeter right now. This is one of the posts we're following online from Henderson Police, one of the agencies leading the efforts down there. Let's walk you through how they ended up catching them, because they do outline some of this information on this post. 7:45 a.m. They had multiple agencies doing searches at that hour for Gillespie. Go back even further. 3:16 this morning, Henderson police saw a stolen vehicle believed to be occupied by the two escaped inmates. Why they assumed that they don't say. But they initiated a traffic stop, tried to turn it over, or to pull the car over. That car then ended up taking off. Officers chased the vehicle until it wrecked on Camaro Drive, where the two of them ended up taking off. Here is the scene, the aftermath of that. So they ended up running away. James Lee was arrested. Brad Gillespie was not. Gillespie, 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, 50 years old. He was last seen wearing dark clothing, so they were not in jumpsuits. Gillespie, again, has been convicted on numerous crimes, including that double murder, but also breaking and entering, theft, assault, drug possession, forgery, receiving stolen property, weapons charges, burglary, forgery. So several charges against Gillespie, who is still on the run. Again, they say they have a perimeter set up in this area on Camaro Drive in Henderson, which is where you're seeing the video from, where that pursuit ended today. They didn't say how they knew that the stolen vehicle was occupied by those two inmates. But last night, State Highway Patrol was saying that they had tips that they were following up on in numerous states, not just in Ohio. So that was at 3:15 this morning. We are several hours after that fact. More than 7 hours later, we still don't have Gillespie in custody as of this moment, as of the last update that we have from police. But the other suspect in this, James Lee, 46-year-old burglar convict, is in custody. He's also been convicted of breaking and entering and safe cracking in his past. So that foot pursuit ensued. Police caught up to Lee. They did not catch up to Gillespie. They're encouraging everybody in the area to remain vigilant. Our coverage of this story will certainly continue as we progress throughout this day. As soon as we get word of an arrest, if there is word of an arrest of Bradley Gillespie, we will be right back on here later this afternoon or morning or whenever that may be to bring you that update. Until then, stick with 13 ABC Action News here on Action News Now, wherever you're streaming this. Also on Action News at noon with Christian Brown for the very latest on this developing story out of Northwest Ohio and now Western Kentucky. For all of us at 13 ABC, I'm Josh Krupp saying good day from Toledo.